What's going on, Buck fans, Buck world out there? I hope y'all doing all right on this fabulous February Friday night. Hope y'all doing good. Welcome to Bucks Report. We just talking that good stuff tonight. Got Slick over here. How you doing, Slick?
I'm good, baby. We're celebrating.
Exactly. Cheers, guys. If you haven't noticed or didn't get the memo today, another great legendary player on that legendary 2002 Bucs team, which we got to find a name for them, has been inducted to the Hall of Fame. Number 20, you know him as the man to shut the vet down, and that's Rondé fucking Barber. Let's give a round of applause for Rondé Barber for finally getting in. Now, people, go to my YouTube. Almost 1 year ago, I said, give Rondé his flowers. You got to check that out, and it's about bucking time. I said that, and I'm so happy that he got his flowers. Slick, it's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. I actually wowed up when it came out because when they did a couple of them, they talked about because they talk about the player before they come out, and they'll talk about being defensive and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, could this be him? Because we had this moment, I think, because was it last year or the year before? They had Derek Brooks bring in someone who was a former Seminole. And you were like, oh my God, he was my teammate. I'm like, they got Rondé's in. And I think it was the Super Bowl year. And yeah, it didn't happen. And a lot of fans were pissed because why would they make fucking Derek Brooks fucking introduce somebody else? Everyone's expecting it to be someone else.
Yes.
But really pleased. It's a guy who I model my own game. I used to model my game after because it's kind of the position I played. I played a little bit of corner, a good chunk of safety, and a little bit of nickel too. So, yeah, really pleased for him. A few tears welled up in for me because I can only imagine how it feels to be, it's your sixth time trying to get in. You finally get in, and you're immortalized in Canton forever.
Facts. I'm just sitting. I was like, it's about damn time. I was happy, but I was sitting here like the league should be ashamed of themselves. Rondé should have got in like 4 years ago. Rondé is one of the most well-rounded corners to ever play the game. The man did everything. That's one thing I loved about him. He could do whatever you asked him. You wanted him to play the nickel. He could be in the nickel. You wanted him to guard the best receiver. He can do that. You wanted him to blitz. He can do that.
Could that guy tackle?
Oh, definitely. I keep telling everybody he's the only corner that made Adrian Peterson fumble not once, but 3 times by himself, solo tackles. He's one of the only guys who put Matt Forte got a safety in London. That was the biggest spot of the damn game because after that, it was just an embarrassment.
Hey, and in case any of you guys out there missed it, as a gentleman we're talking about, Rondé Barber is finally in the Professional Football Hall of Fame. We want to go ahead and show you the exact moment that he found out and what the NFL and NFL Network is calling the knock.
Hey, I don't know if I'm one. I may be more nervous than him. Oh, Brooksy. Oh, my God. Yes.
You wear that jacket around everywhere?
Yes. You will too, Will.
Oh my God.
Rondé Barber,
Yeah.
my good friend, welcome to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Oh my God, Derek.
We teammates forever.
You can't get rid of it.
I go.
That's right, damn right. And that's very fitting. Derek Brooks brings him in and brings him in. And I'm telling you, they need to do a documentary 30 for 30 about that 2002 Buccaneers defense. You got 4 Hall of Famers. Now we got to get Simeon in there to do 5. That'll be another argument for another day, but this is Rondé fucking Barber, man.
I mean, the guy's he's the only 40-25 guy. All right, he's a defensive back with 14 touchdowns.
Yes.
14. That's more. I can probably give you a nice list of first-round draft picks on the offensive side of the ball that never got 14 touchdowns in their career. Just want to throw that out there. Rondé defined, like they said, what it was to be a Buccaneer in that early era. Aggressive, on point, disciplined, respectful, but aware of the greatness that you are participating in. And let's think about this. 200 consecutive starts. Never played it down for another team. When he was getting a little bit older and realized I can't go one-on-one with the number ones anymore, he went to safety and went to the Pro Bowl. So, I mean, the guy is overlooked by most NFL fans because, well, you know, he doesn't do behind-the-back passes and talk like a Muppet. But the guy was a stalwart in the defense. You're talking about a guy literally, I mean, when he was at his prime, what was he? 5'11", maybe 6 foot and maybe 205.
No,
and he was coming
5'10".
off.
He's 5'10".
Yeah, he was coming off the edge like a madman, and he was destroying quarterbacks. And like you guys brought up, Adrian Peterson don't want none of Rondé Barber. Okay, Rondé Barber took the switch to Peterson. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, and he laid. There's a footage of him laying the wood to. He hit Jerome Bettis before.
Yeah, he had no fear. And here's the thing, Rondé, your brother, I believe, got the Super Bowl ring first, but you're in the Hall of Fame first.
No, Rondé got the Super Bowl ring. Tiki never got a ring.
Oh, that's right. So Tiki, you just got a daytime talk show.
And the funny thing is, Tiki was on the verge of being a Hall of Fame caliber player himself, because in the beginning it looked like Tiki was going to be the superstar, and then Rondé with work. Because one thing a lot of people don't realize, Rondé was a very, very smart, intelligent player. That's why he was so good at blitzing, because he knew how to anticipate quarterbacks' movement, where they were going. He saw the route. He said, okay, I can get to him just in time. He also knew how to look at how running backs ran and the holes they would pick. That guy was fucking intelligent.
And the story, and Rondé told us, I'll find it somewhere for you guys, and we'll put it on the show at some point.
Yes.
Or down the road. Rondé, when he entered the league, he almost got cut his first year. And people don't realize he didn't play much his first year.
No.
So this is a story about a guy who battled through. He's too small for this league, blah, blah, blah. And here he is, 2023, walking into the Hall of Fame with a stat line that hasn't been duplicated in a lot of the categories. We talked about why he's so great. Don't you think it'd be cooler if we saw how great he was?
Yes.
You like that? Okay, let's do that.
Only a 3-man rush. And intercepted by Rondé. Ball's got to come out. Going to Mo's pass, intercepted. Rondé Barber. Brooks throws, and it's intercepted by Rondé Barber. Barber heading for the end zone. Touchdown. It's too wide. What a timing by Rondé Barber. He flew up from the corner to make the stop. Blitz coming
That's my shit right there. Every time he does that, and that is an iconic moment. That's why Eagles. I love when Eagles talk shit. I'm like, bro, y'all might be in the Super Bowl, but look, we shut y'all down at your most, like the infamy of the vet. You know what you can see number 20 running it back on y'all punk asses, and you have to eat that for the rest of y'all's existence. The vet was shut down. You went home upset.
It's always nice.
It's always nice. And Bucks made he made a great statement. Only Buck fans know about him. And that's true. A lot of people really they are aware. They don't know Rondé. They are aware of who he is. And most people go, oh, because he got a twin brother Tiki. That's why it took him so long to get in the Hall of Fame. They gave him no respect because Rondé was a man who led by example. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't an asshole. He just and then the Bucks were not a popular team back then. They weren't a high marketable team like the Giants were, or the Cowboys, or the Patriots, or Green Bay. Because had Rondé had played for one of those organizations I just mentioned, he would have been in by far. He has not done anything that other cornerbacks in the Hall of Fame can do. I said this earlier, Slick. There's only a handful of corners I will say that are better than him. And most of them is just because of their athletic ability. Prime time. Enough said. Darryl Green, enough said. Charles Woodson, enough said. Champ Bailey. And then this guy who's going in there as well, Revis, and that's debatable. That one is debatable.
What about Ron Woodson?
I'm going to
beat. He was a freaking beast.
But as a safety, he was devastating as well. So he's a hybrid.
Oh, for sure. But he started his career as a corner, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Take out Revis and put Rod Woodson in there.
I got a lot of love for that dude. He taught me a lot of stuff. One thing I remember watching a webinar with him and Nickerson. He broke down offenses like, if you want to make offense simple, there are only 5 offensive formations. And everyone's like, look at everyone in the things like, what's this guy talking about? There's fucking loads. And he's like, you got pro, doubles, empty, trips. That's all there is. And after you've got that, all it is variations of the same thing. It's still doubles. It's doubles with a tight end.
Yep.
It's trips with a tight end. It's still exactly what it is. So yeah, it's he's a dude. He's one of my dudes for sure.
No, I knew I was forgetting somebody, but yes,
there's always somebody though. You can Train Lane.
Rod.
You can do this. I think the best way you can do it is just do it in generations, because it's just so much easier, because you can go, okay, these kind of guys live in this kind of fishbowl. Yes. These are the best players of that fishbowl era, so to speak.
Yes, I agree. But I had to break it down because a lot of people were saying, no way he's top 10. I'm like, damn right. He's around the top 5. I said, everybody I just mentioned, I said, you know what?
Okay, I'll take that he's not top 10, but I'll add a layer to this. Mm-hmm. I bet you he's the number 1 nickel of all time.
Oh yeah. No,
and that's my point. He made a position that's now a staple of any single NFL defense.
Yep.
Like, before that, some teams had nickel packages, not all. Every team has a nickel package. Every team uses their nickel package more than their base package, because guess what? It's a passing league. You're going to use a 4-2-5 defense more than you will use your 3-3. It's a 3-3 base, but you're going to sub out a linebacker when you see they got a good slot, or they got a good tight end, or what have you, and you're going to put a Rondé Barber in there. So this guy, I wouldn't say creative, because he didn't create the position, but he made a position that wasn't really that popular and turned it into his bread and butter. And from that position, you can play. He basically played DB as a linebacker. That's basically what he did.
Yes, he did. But that's why I say he redefined that position. So
absolutely,
he didn't. That's why he's in the top 10. And again, the other players that I've mentioned that were, I say, better, the only reason is most of them had physical abilities better than him, not mental. Dion, I just said Prime. Prime is the
Prime. You could have put him in a wide receiver or whatever. The one they said, would you have got into the Hall of Fame if you were a wide receiver? Yeah, and I believe it. I honestly believe it. He He's smart and super athletic. And there's some players who are more smart than they are athletic, and that's when the Rondé Barber. And people turn around and go, "Oh, well, he's a system guy." Okay, that's debatable. It doesn't matter. The point being is he's been in multiple systems. He hasn't been just in cover 2 all his entire career. That's absolute bullshit. But it's understanding how to use that system to your advantage. Because otherwise, you can just argue that Revis is just very athletic, and that's it.
Well, shit. I mean,
not very smart.
Right.
And that's not a knock on him, because he obviously is smart. You have to be smart to get into the Hall of Fame. There's probably not many dumb Hall of Famers. They're probably O linemen.
No, you are absolutely right. But anyone's a system player. Are you going to say that shit about Joe Montana? He played with
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was a system player.
You got to stop that. It'd be different if they had an overwhelming other better players to make them look good. But Rondé was his own guy. You see that he was on a TO. You see that he could play your number one receivers if they want to.
The way he broke down on those balls in those highlight reels is exactly how a safety breaks down on balls. Because a true man corner follows and then gets in front and takes it off. What he was doing was coming from depth. So he was going into his zone, reading, sees the eyes of the quarterback, foot in the ground, and he's just breaking straight on that ball. Because most of those, he's catching the ball before they even realize they got their hands up. Like, he is at that interception point. There's no, when you see, sometimes you see in a game where you see a guy trying to make the pick, and then the wide receiver ends up having to play DB to stop him from picking the ball, right?
Yep.
There's no chance of doing that when you do that, because you gain depth, you read, and as soon as I always say, when you see the ball cocked up in the air, the ball has gone back into his arm, the ball's going to come out. Your foot goes into the ground, and you sprint as hard as you can to where that ball's going to be, and you will snag it. And that's why his interception to touchdown ratio is extremely high, because when you intercept it at the exact point when it's supposed to be there and you're at full tilt, ain't nobody stopping you.
Nobody's stopping you. And he could do anything. His zone coverage skills was ridiculous. I tell people, if you think Sherman could read zone coverages, shit, Sherman probably learned from Rondé, because like you said, Rondé could see, he anticipates where the quarterback is going to go. And he had a smart way of masking coverage where the quarterback thinks he's not going to get. And I think that a lot of people underestimated Rondé's speed too. He was fast enough to get there. And like you said, before the receiver even noticed what's going on, it's too late. He knew how to, and his masking was genius. The only other people that I could see that knew how to mask it like that is your Ed Reeds. But Ed Reed just used most of his athleticism anyway.
He was a smart cookie though, too.
Yeah, he was. Rondé just did shit where, and one thing I do love about Rondé, even if he did play cushion coverage, what he made up for it is that he'll still,
because he's playing the slot. You can't, most people who play the slot, you got to play further down, because you can't sack from fucking 8 yards away.
Yeah, but I'm saying if he was on the outside, he could tackle.
He might back up a bit.
Yeah, but he would tackle you. That's the one thing that I always loved about Rondé. He was a for sure tackler. So even if the guy caught the ball, you weren't going anywhere. He hits you, and you said he has no fear. Look at what he did to Jerome Bettis. Most linebackers and a lot of safeties are scared to try to take on the bus. He had no fear. That's why I think a lot of people just didn't really, if the Bucs were not popular enough to get that, because he was a corner ahead of his time, as you said. The nickel position, I think, was also, like you said, frowned upon or laughed upon. You were like the third guy. Like
you were generally the third guy, but then there were certain. Now it's got to a point where you have a certain skill set to play that position, because you have to be tough. Because you're usually slot receivers are you're either going up against a tight end who's more physical, or you're going up against a slot receiver who's a little bit more. What's the best way of putting it? He's better at cutting in his routes. He's better at. His route tree is a lot more refined, but he may not have the speed, or he may not have the ball awareness, or he may not have the hands, but he's got this ability to get open, and they're gonna and the ability to be brave, because you are much closer to them linebackers. When you see them linebackers, they can, that's it. But for me, I was one thing that you haven't said, which I'm going to add to it because we're stacking our boy. We're stacking our boy right now. Versatility. Nickel, corner, free safety.
Yeah.
You can put him. In theory, you can put him anywhere, and that is special. The ultimate utility player that had production. Because I looked at an argument online. I always do it. Sometimes I comment, sometimes I don't. I'm way more active on Facebook than I am on any other platform, and I'm trying my best to get more active.
Got
I
it.
wish I could do the stuff you do because I'd love to do it. I just don't have the freaking time or energy. 2 children. That's what it is. And someone was saying, well, he's not better than Revis. I was like, okay, well, that's a fair point. There's nothing wrong with your argument. However, you do realize he's been surpassed in every single. I think there was only one category that Revis had him in. And the thing what I did is there's this beautiful site. I'm just trying to remember what it's called because I use it a lot. Pro Football Reference. My go-to. You can stick a guy's name in and then you can combine the years. So if you've got a guy who's played 12 years in the league and then you're comparing him to a guy who's got 18 years in the league, it's not really fair because his stats are going to be inflated. So you hit them both at that 12-year or the 11-year mark and you get like that comparison. So I did that. There was only one stat, and that was, I think it was quarterback hits. Yeah. Surprisingly. Revis had more quarterback hits than that's probably because Rondé Barber got sacks instead of hits.
Yep.
Because their sack ratio was not even close.
The sack ratio isn't close to anybody, and that's what I'm saying. He can hit you, and when he made that tackle, it was for sure. And that's why I think again, Revis is always going to be we also got to realize certain coverages of the time. Rondé didn't get the coverage that Revis got either. A lot of people don't remember, or if they look back on the Bucs, if you weren't a Bucs fan and you were outside of the Bucs circle, you just knew John Lynch, Warren Sapp, and Derek Brooks. Those were your 3 guys. And then Hardy Nickerson when he was there. But
I loved Hardy.
Yeah, those guys were the people that the media, of course, because of Warren's personality and Derek Brooks' leadership and John Lynch being that man that can hit. But Rondé was that forgotten piece later on down the line because he's quiet. Back then, he was a quiet guy. He talked a little bit, but he wasn't as flamboyant as his brother. Tiki was the guy and he's in New York. So
I've watched a lot of stuff when they've talked about Tiki and Tiki this and Tiki that, and obviously they're twins and they have obviously a lot of love for each other. Yep. And when they heard Tiki said this, and he's like, I'm not surprised. Tiki's outspoken. Tiki's this, and you usually find that with twins, you usually have one more reserved one and one more that's not so reserved. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, not at all. And that's
I love Tiki. I think he's a good dude. I've got a heck of a lot of respect for him. Hey, he called out a Manning and everyone got upset about it.
Right. And he wasn't necessarily too wrong. It's just at that point, it's Eli. It's a Manning. It's not. It's just he's a Manning. You don't call out a guy like that.
You're not allowed
to. Quarterback. And that's the reason. But no, Rondé was just also I think that when people go back and they truly look at him that didn't watch the Bucs like that, they're gonna say, damn, he does do this. Damn, he does do that. Damn, okay. So wow, that's why I tell people we can't just we didn't forget about Talib. Talib actually he did a lot in Tampa, but if he were to go, he did a lot when he was in Denver too. That I think he was in his most complete form in Denver. In Denver, that guy was an animal. But the thing is, he doesn't have the mental mental intelligence of a Rondé. Talib is the guy who relied mostly on physical abilities. Nothing wrong with that, but Rondé could do everything. Like you said, when Rondé was getting older, he said, damn, let me just play safety. There was one play I knew Rondé was getting old is the Cleveland Browns game in 2010 where he picked off the guy and he couldn't get the pick six and he started slowing down. That's when I said, damn, Rondé getting old. Rondé getting up there in age. But he was still a smart player because when we played the Chiefs in 2012, EJ Biggers almost knocked the ball out of this guy's hand, but it never hit the ground. He grabs it and runs it back for a pick six. Rondé is just, again, there's so much like we could just say about him. And I put him up there with any of the corners. He's a top 10. Deal with it. Argue me down. As you say, give me the stats of why he isn't. Why shouldn't he?
I think the usual argument that you always get is people saying things of the nature of that he didn't shut down the side of the field. And that wasn't his role. His role wasn't right. That's like turning around and saying a defensive end stops every single run that comes from the left hand, from the right hand side, or the strong side, or the weak side, whichever side they were on.
Yep.
You know there's going to be plays that they didn't.
Exactly.
You know that there's plays that, because pass rushers are generally, guess what, good at pass rushing, not necessarily. Yep. Depending on what scheme they're in. So, exactly. And this is what a lot of football is about, and this is why there's debate. Because had he been in another scheme, he might not have flourished. It's possible. But he might have had to turn around and become a free safety instead in another scheme.
Mm-hmm.
He's already shown the versatility that he can do it at an older age, where, yeah, he's a little bit wiser, and free safety is a wise position. You've got to patrol the field, especially if you're playing cover free or you're playing or any one high shell. You're patrolling the field and you're going to where the ball is, and that guy can sniff out the ball. His interception ratio tells you that he can sniff out the ball. So when people turn around and say this person can't do this, this here, look, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He got voted in. Do you know how hard it is to get in the Hall of Fame? You've got to convince the other people in that room that this person deserves to be there. And for 6 years, imagine arguing someone's case for 6 years, and they're going, no, 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 no. And eventually they go, you know what? That was a compelling argument. And do you know what helped Rondé's case?
What, playing for what?
No. It happened recently. He's in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, him and being in the Ring of Honor.
When you put someone in the Ring of Honor, it's an accolade, right? That's like he's considered by the Buccaneers franchise one of the greatest Bucs to play the game. Okay, now you can have that conversation that he is one of the greatest players of his position.
He is.
So that speaks volumes, because teams don't just do that to everyone.
Nope.
So to be in that argument, to be put on, I'm surprised it took so long, to be brutally honest. And it's a shame that Hardy Nixon's not in it too. I think that's disgusting. But that's a conversation for another day, because we're pumping up our guy. Look, once you have that accolade, say you are one of the best and only corner at that point, corner at this point, to be considered. So he's the greatest cornerback to ever play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Period.
Yes, period. No, he is. He's the greatest to play, and he lasted so long. And that's the thing. It's not only that too. When people really pay attention, he's embarrassed a lot of quarterbacks. His main victim was McNabb. Not only in the NFC division, the 2006 game, he picked sixed him twice. So Rondé owns certain quarterbacks. I just look at it like, when I see him play, that he was on a mission. He did everything right. He did what he needed to do. A lot of times we don't get that kind of consistency. He was a leader, and even off the field, he was a stand-up man. I think that's another thing that helped him too, because with Tiki, not to get into his personal business, but his personal things off the field affected his perception to people. Now, do I think it's fair? No, absolutely not. I like to judge people by who you are on the field, because as a person, I don't know your life.
What you're being voted for? You're being voted for what you did on the field realistically. I mean, if that's the argument, let's go and strip Brett Favre this Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Get on with it. But you can't, because on the field, the guy was a dude.
Exactly.
Straight up dude. He was an absolute phenomenal player. We may never see that kind of level of toughness from a quarterback ever again.
No.
The quarterbacks are soft.
No. And I wanted to ask you this, because I got 3 years that I would say, wow, Rondé was that guy. Give me 3 years that you in his entire career that you were like, 3 seasons that you could say, damn, Rondé is going to be a Hall of Famer?
Not the Super Bowl year, because I think that was a more down. 1999 and 2000 were 2 big years for him,
Yes,
if I remember correctly. And I'll go with the final year, because that is finishing. I mean, the Bucs didn't play very well, but talk about to get, like, you go to a Pro Bowl and then you go, I'm just going to change positions. I'm going to be a Pro Bowler. Mic drop. Done.
yes.
For me, it's like, okay, you're on a losing team. How do you have like the best season you can have on a losing team? Well, you know what? I'm going to go and learn I'm going to go and play a different position, and I'm going to be fucking good enough at it that I'm going to get a Pro Bowl, and I'm going to drop that fucking mic and I'm walking out. And I think that's exactly what he did.
Yes. Yes, 2000 I think was a very solid year. 2001 was a more solid season. But the season that got me, and I said, wow, was the 2005 season. That was the last greatness of that Bucs defense in general, like dominance-wise. But 2005, Rondé just was all over the place. And they gave me hope. That 2005 season, the reason why I feel like that was special is because, again, the defense people forget the 2005 Bucs defense was ranked number 1 that entire season. That was the last like hoorah of Buck dominance, because Simeon Rice was still there. Derek Brooks was killing. Hovan was there at the time. I don't think a lot of people remember Hovan. Hovan was that guy at the tackle. That was our last hoorah of dominance. And the simple fact that Rondé just kept it at that intensity level so long, I said, damn. After that, I knew 2005. I said, yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I said, that guy's going into the Hall.
Well, speaking of Hall of Famers, my good man,
yes,
we got a couple of comments about other Buccaneers that they feel, or asking us if they should get in. So,
okay,
without further ado, should Mike Allstott be in the Hall of Fame?
You're damn right. Get him in there.
It's a tough one because the fullback position doesn't really exist anymore. Do I think he deserves it? Yes. I mean, if you look at his tape, it's insane. I mean, don't get me wrong, they highlights, not lowlights, but it's some of the things that he did was just insane, because he was not fast, but he was coming, and you knew he was coming. Should he be the next book to go in? That's a tough one, because you're going to argue Simeon Rice on that one.
I would say Simeon first.
And Simeon Rice has actually been, what's the word? He's gone through the system before, whereas I don't think Mike Allstott had. I think you'll probably find that Mike Allstott may be a fullback on paper, but majority lined up as a running back, in all fairness to him.
Yes. And
a bit like Travis Kelce and Lace Lott and what have you.
Right.
However, that should not minimize what he's done. I think he'll end up going in as one of those generational guys. So when they do the guys after like fucking their grandmother, their
yes.
their granddaughter puts him in, which is fucking tragic, if I'm brutally fucking honest. It's one of the horriblest things to see. I think it was the one before. I don't usually watch it, but I thought I'd watch it. I got home from work. I was doing a bit of stuff, getting ready for my assessments and stuff, but coaching, and I was watching it, and it's like, this person was really, really, really great, and here's his great grandson, and I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Again, you gotta give people their flowers.
Come on. Sometimes you gotta give people flowers where they're alive. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's tough. It's tough.
I would go with Simeon, though. To be honest, Simeon definitely. He has the numbers. He has the numbers. I mean, I don't believe there's anyone before him that's got in on his numbers. So that's a good thing. Because that would make me more sour. Do you know what I mean? So someone's got like a lot, like a good chunk of sacks, like, and it will happen, because I'm just looking at it now, and JJ Watt has less sacks. Wow, but he'll go in.
Cam Jordan has less sacks.
Cam's not going in the Hall though, so
he's still got years to play. So don't rule it out. Like we said with Jono Barnes, our resident Saints fan. I agree with him in the sense of what he was saying about Mike Evans. Historically good numbers, but is he really a Hall of Famer? And it's like they need to show a little. They need to add a little bit more to their accolades to finish off. Because of course I want Levante. I want Mike Evans. But I got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Levante David doesn't have enough accolades, and we're talking All Pros and Pro Bowls, which are some of the stuff that gets you there.
Yes.
The only way he's going to get there now is by being inflated with Super Bowl rings. But I don't think, in my opinion, that Levante's worried about that shit. No. I think he cares more about what his peers think. Every time I've watched conversations with him, he's got the league's respect. Like yes. no one in the coaching room, no one in the film room is looking at Levante David and I can get by him. I'm going to kick I will kick his ass. That's more like inflated ego and just chat. But they're preparing for it.
Yep.
They're preparing for him. He's a problem.
Oh,
so, absolutely. And he's been a problem for his entire career. Yep. And that speaks volumes. Unfortunately, those people aren't in the Hall of Fame voting. So I don't think he will become a Hall of Famer. Mike Evans still has the ability to. He can get more Pro Bowls. He can still saturate more of these seasons. And I've said to you before, if Mike Evans is in the system, when Mike Evans does hang him up, as long as when he is eligible for the Hall of Fame, no one's caught him up, he'll go in.
Yes, I agree.
Because if you get, like, for the sake of argument, he retires and he's done, I don't know, let's say 12 seasons straight up, boom, 1,000-yard season. So he's around about 1,400 to 1,500 not 1,500, sorry, 15,000 yards, and is well over a buck in touchdowns. And Jamar Chase comes along or whoever, and when he's eligible to go in, they have done almost as much or close to as him, then that would make it a problem for him getting in.
Yeah,
unless he wins multiple Super Bowls and Pro Bowls, because then you can just turn around and do that.
Exactly, and I think that's what the thing about Evans. He'll get in due to the fact. I honestly think he'll finish the rest of his career with 1,000-yard seasons. He will be that person. Who he reminds me of, and he'll get in due to his numbers, but wasn't as popular, but they couldn't deny the numbers. Do you remember Curtis Martin?
No.
Curtis Martin played for the Jets as a running back. He has the numbers. I think statistically, if you look it up, he's like maybe number 3 or 4 all-time rushing. Now, the Jets have always been a very unpopular team, but when they had to look at the numbers, Curtis was always consistent. He was a quiet guy like Evans. He was more introvert, I'll say. Curtis Martin literally is in the Hall of Fame because they looked at those numbers and said, shit, if this person is in here, we cannot deny him that. Yes, Curtis Martin wasn't exciting. Yes, Curtis Martin didn't give us but
he was a grinder. He was
a grinder, and that's what Evans will be now. And when they go back, they look and say Curtis was, statistically speaking, one of the best of his position. When they go back, they're gonna look at Evans and say, "Hey, statistically, he was one of the best at what he did." So that's the only reason. When it comes to Cam, that's why I say you can sort of compare, but we have never considered Cam the best at his position. Cam was always number 3 or 4. There was always other guys better than him that was undeniable. I have never heard anybody in here say, when you hear Cam Jordan, they say, oh yeah, he could be a problem, but you never was like, shit, he is the problem. He wasn't a TJ Watt guy or DeMarcus Ware or Von Miller type of guy.
Well, let's talk about this guy, Curtis Martin. I'm just looking up his stats while we were having a nice little natter.
Yeah.
Nice bit of English word there. Offensive rookie of the year, first team All Pro only one time, second team All Pro two times, so 3 All Pros, 5 Pro Bowls, rushing leader 1 time, and then stats wise, let's have a look at this bad boy. Where do you think he stacks, in your opinion?
When it comes to rushing, I think he's either number 3 or 4.
He's 6.
6, okay.
But still, that's above Eric Dickerson. It's above Tony Dorsett. It's above Marshall Faulk, Edgerrin James, Marcus Allen, Franco Harris, Thurman Thomas, and the great Jim Brown. Yep. So he's above a few people. I mean, sometimes you have to compare about how many years and what have you. But hey, he got it. He's got in and he's done his thing. Frank Gore is obviously the only person not to get in yet. So he only recently retired. So we'll see. Your opinion, Frank Gore?
Oh yeah, Frank Gore's Hall of Fame.
You can't be top 3. I don't care that like people go, oh, longevity shouldn't get you in. No, do you know what should get you in? Is the fact that you're consistently still considered good enough to play. Do you realize how hard it is to play in the NFL? The average NFL career is like 3 years.
2 to 3. 2 to 3. That's why the NFL stands
2 to 3 years. And Frank Gore has played. I mean, his beard's white probably right now, and like you've got to commend it. He bounced around the league. How hard is it to bounce? You've been playing for X amount of years, and you've had 5 different teams. Imagine the offensive coordinators. Imagine the amount of head coaches you've had to work with, and you still put up numbers.
And if he goes in the Hall of Fame, he will go as a 49er because that's where he did his most damage. One thing that he redefined as a running back, the HB draw. The HB draw, Frank Gore feasted. His vision was great, but not only that, he ran you over. Frank Gore is a problem, and a lot of people, Slick, owed me an apology later on down. They said, "Damn, you were right." I said, "I told you." He's another one. Could he be very loud? Yes, but he was more of an eternal guy. A lot of times in this league, if you are not a loud mouth person, you're not gonna get as looked at because you're not clickbait. Like shit, he gets us views. Warren Sapp, you just wanted to see what was gonna come out of his mouth next. T.O., you wanted to see what they were coming out of his mouth. Randy Moss, those type of guys, you go, shit, I want to know what he's gonna say next.
Let's talk a little bit about running backs for a split second, and I'm going to go with some other guys who aren't Hall of Famers, and you're just going to go yes or no.
Okay.
Taylor. That's a tough one. I've got a lot of love for Fred.
Taylor. Yeah, I like him.
He was so dominant for being on such a shit team.
Yes.
That's a difficult one.
Yes.
I think if he went to New England, when he went to New England and got a Super Bowl, I think it cements it. But
yes, agreed.
It's a tough one. Steven Jackson?
No.
And then it's like Corey Dillon and LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy.
That's a tough one. He will just miss it. He's another Fred Taylor because when he was dominant, he was dominant. But after he left Philly, he wasn't the same. And that's not his fault. That's not his fault. The coach fucked him up on that one. So no, I'm gonna say no, but not a hard no. Steven Jackson is a no.
No, hey, there's plenty of good players in the league, and it's so hard to split. You're splitting hairs when you're looking at some of these guys. And of course, we have our rose-tinted Tampa Bay Buccaneers glasses on, and we're always going to pull for our guys for sure. And I'm sure there's guys around the league, like when we would, you can imagine it, every time Rondé got up, we go and look at the guy's stats and go, how the fuck did this guy get in over our boy? I'm sure there's guys all around the league. I'll be honest, as soon as I saw Darrelle Revis come out, I went, there's no way they're putting 2 corners in. That's my first thought. I was like, there's no way they're putting 2 corners in. And then when it happened, I was like, oh shit.
And then DeMarcus Ware, that one I wasn't too surprised. He should go. That guy, when the way he played in Dallas, and then when he went to Denver, and now people don't realize he helped Von Miller. Man, like, no, I was happy for him to go. He's the only one of the only few Cowboys where I was like, you know what, I like that guy. But,
Michael Pittman getting the
no. I would put Warwick Dunn in Hall of Fame before Michael.
Warwick Dunn, that's a way more inflated than Michael Pittman.
Yeah, but
it's not even close.
Oh yeah, no, Warwick Dunn isn't going, but if not over Michael Pittman ain't going nowhere. It's too many running backs at the Bucs.
No, but you can say someone like I would put Warwick Dunn and Fred Taylor in kind of the same category almost. And there's an argument for them, but there's not enough of an argument to get them in.
Exactly. You know what they'll be? They'll be social Hall of Famers. Throughout the next generations, people will know of them. They'll be talked about, but we're not going to put them in there. They're not going to be like.
They'll be, and I think at the end of the day, if they're still alive, they'll be those generational ones that get in when they're 80 years old.
Yeah, possibly. They'll be barbershop talk. We got a lot of barbershop talk Hall of Famers where it's like, He was the
Oh,
truth.
and me and you are both trimmed, so we're ready to go.
So yeah, it's a few people. Yeah, I do remember Revis on the Bucks. He was promising. Lovey screwed that up. So that's why I really don't talk about Revis, because I get so pissed. Revis was doing the damn thing for us, and then Lovey just it's like, Lovey, what the hell?
I think
let
he
a
was
guy
looking.
like,
It doesn't work. I don't think someone like that works in your scheme, and so that. But what he traded him, what we got for him, was even worse. It's like you can live with it if you get something decent out of it, but then we get like a really cheap ass pick for it.
yes, we did, and that's what I'm saying. We just screwed that.
Like you turn around and you get like a third or above. You go, okay, this guy's got a vision of what he wants to do. He's going to try and replace him with a guy that can do. No,
Jonathan Banks. That's all I got to say. Jonathan Banks, man. Whew. I just sometimes I realized this got me through a lot of Bucs during them days. I was like, the gym in this. So, but no, AB being an asshole, he's done so much damage. That's what will keep him out. Now, talent and number wise, AB you can't deny that. AB is a talent. That's one thing about me. I don't have to like you as a person, but on the field, you were.
Hey, if they can keep T.O. out, they'll definitely keep this guy out.
Yeah, no,
T.O. was just outspoken.
Yeah.
T.O. was just outspoken and said what he wanted to say. This guy's done questionable. I mean, one thing that's affected the team on the day, he got cut by a team just for being an asshole.
Yep.
And all he had to do was keep his mouth shut, and he was guaranteed money. That's how stupid and dumb of things he's done. I mean, all he had to do to be on the Raiders, just keep your mouth shut and you get paid. But he was like, nope, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, it worked out for him. He walked away.
It worked out for us, but yeah, overall, no, like you said, they kept T.O. out for a long time. AB's going to get kicked out because he was just an asshole in general. And the comment he made about Robert Kraft, it's like, my man, you out here calling out.
You can't mock the guy who's got probably a deciding factor, going to be a deciding factor.
And who writes your fucking checks? Who's paying you? No, AB's not going. AB's not going. Should he, talent wise? Absolutely. AB is one of the best, one of the greatest. I say he's one of the top 5 greatest route running receivers of all time. Now, the only thing that I'll get about him is, again, his mental ability. I think mentally, you know what cornerback would have destroyed AB? Prime time. Prime would have gotten in AB's head so fast, he wouldn't know what to do. And the simple fact that Prime was faster than him by far, yeah, AB couldn't have survived, or Darrell Green. Darrell Green would have worked him. So yeah, no. AB's not going to the Hall. AB's not going.
So I'm just having a little snoop of stats and stuff while we're talking about these.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is behind Julio Jones in yards, but is a good chunk in front of him in touchdowns. And let's face it, getting down the field is part of the job, but scoring those touchdowns is what secure wins.
He could just, he was just shifty. Again, very shifty, route, it's just impeccable. But he ain't going. All right, Bucks, you reach it now with some of the rest of these.
We're moving on. We're moving
I'm
not even answering that.
I'm not even answering that shit. No, you want to make an argument.
I'm like saying Dexter Jackson should get in.
Yeah, no.
Come on, we go. Work with us here. Harlan should get in.
No, Bucks. No. Brad did his job. He didn't mess up. That's why he
had to do.
He didn't mess up. Now, he did have one game where he threw for 5 touchdowns, and that was against the Vikings. But everybody, that happens a lot. Winston threw for 5 touchdowns before against the Eagles his rookie year. Look, guys, to get in the Hall of Fame for the most part, you got to be a rememberable player. They have to look back in this game years down the line, like, damn, he really was special. And he transcended things. It's to be in the Hall of Fame. It's just an honor, and that's why I'm just happy that Rondé is sharing that honor. And again, the 2002 Buccaneers defense need a documentary. You know, they need a 30 for 30 to show how great they were and what they
Well,
did.
you know what's going to happen now with him going into the Hall of Fame. They're going to do a football life on him because they've done one on Lynch. They've done one. I think they've done one on Brooks and they've done one on Sapp. So they're going to have to do. I think they usually do tend to do them on the 5 modern day guys. And,
They should, because him and Arians got so much history together.
Well, they've already got one, I believe, but it's about them being twins. So it'd be interesting to see where they go with the next thing for them. So, but they did discuss, I do believe, in that football life that at one point it was all Tiki. Tiki was going to be the one that was going to be the launch pad, and he looked like the Hall of Famer. And then, like, once he retired, this guy was just being consistent, and that was the thing about he wasn't flashy, but you know what he was? Like Levante David, consistent. Consistency breeds success.
Exactly.
You just have to be consistent. Do you know how hard it is to be consistent? Everyone has a down day. Every single one. The GOAT has had down days. We've seen him. We've seen him when he was with the Patriots. So don't give me the excuses that he was old and whatever. He's had down days. There were days where Miami kicked the shit out of him with a nobody quarterback because he can't play in the heat. Well, he could when he came to Tampa, but hey, that's where we are. Everyone has down days. But could you be consistent enough year in, year out? That is the package.
Yeah, and Rondé always delivered. Rondé always delivered, and that's what's going to happen. And now, again, you have to just show what he was and how he was for that defense and what he meant. Because you're right about Tiki. Tiki was the guy that a lot of people thought he did. He started out super strong. I mean, Tiki was that guy in New York. He was doing a lot of things. I remember they had a squad. You know, that's why I was kind of disappointed in Tiki for kind of like getting too frustrated and flustered with Eli, because he stays on that team. They're winning. He's going to win a Super Bowl with them. You know, it was him.
At bare minimum, he's walking away with one.
He's walking away with one, and he would be in the Hall. They had a squad.
I think some people they're just not. If you're not in love with something anymore, and you're not enjoying it, why do it? And I think he fell in love with media.
Yes,
so
he did,
and he's very good at that. So I think he just went, you know what? I'm just going to do media. I'm done. I'm out.
And what a lot of people don't realize, when you really play this game of football, the practices, the meetings, and you have to be committed, and you have to love it. Brady loved it. That's why he stayed for so long. You got even Shannon said, hey man, I got to wrap it up because my body isn't what it is. And mentally, I'm not here anymore to just sit in these rooms and study and then practice in the heat and you have to.
Somebody's going to do it, and they will surpass you eventually. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. You're on your top of your game. You're doing all the work, and then you're like, fuck me, this work is getting hard, because it becomes harder and harder every year because your body's taking a toll. It's taking a toll on your body. It's taking a toll on your psyche. And then you got young kids who are eager to eat it up, and you're like, oh, I can barely get through this fucking meeting, but I'll do it. And then your talent and your experience alone keeps you afloat. And then you're thinking, you know what? Fuck it, I'll walk out, because I don't want it. Nobody really wants to get to that point where you're being outworked by the guy that they drafted, or you're being outworked. Because that's not the best way to go, is it? Really? At the end,
you want to go out with dignity. You want to go out fighting. Like, hey, this guy he gave everything, but you don't want to go out miserable or kind of disgraced. I agree. You don't want that, and that's why it was good that Rondé left when he did, because now Rondé's smart. The Bucs gonna keep paying him forever. He's with the Bucs, staff. If I'm Todd Bowles, if you really want to put him on your defensive staff, can you imagine him being a cornerbacks coach, maybe a defensive coordinator one day? Help out.
You never know. And you think you got to take into this, not like a lot of people. We can all find players like linebackers coach. Oh, Derek Brooks. Oh, Warren Sapp is a D-line coach. Most of these guys don't want to put the time.
No,
they know what it takes. They know the effort that gets put in. Some people love it, some people don't. Some of them become high school football coaches and are quite happy. Like Nicholson's a high school football coach. I think Brad Johnson's might be a high school football coach, and I'll give me a second. The name's completely gone out of my mouth. But there are a fair few people who say high school's easy because it's nowhere near as intense.
No, and
you can impart it with them.
Yep, and those kids just want to play. So the ego isn't nowhere near as high as a college or.
And you can shoot them down if you. Hey, I'm a fucking 10-year NFL vet. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, sir.
You shut the fuck up because this guy's been in the league. You want to get the league? Listen to him.
Yep, agreed. And you know, you're right. And
Old Scott is a high school football coach as well.
Yeah, and those guys have made enough. And I think someone like Rondé saves his money, and they don't need it. Like, you know, they don't need that stress. Like you said, you can't even pay them enough for that because they're like, hey, financially, I'm set. So that's why I'm just, again, Rondé, you know, I'm just proud of you, Rondé. We are all proud of you because you got over that hump finally, and I cannot wait to hear his speech. I cannot wait to hear his speech, to see his highlights. Now we can see a true Hall of Fame caliber highlight. Now for us Buck fans, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Now the world and other people get to see it and go, wow, oh wow, I didn't know you. So this is what this guy.
And when they start stacking them stats, the only defensive back to have X amount of this, X amount of that, this many that, people are like, fucking hell, he played corner. Shit.
Exactly. And now people can, that's the beauty of it though. When people have to go back and go, oh wow, this is what we missed. Oh wow, oh my goodness, you guys are right. So this is what you guys have been saying all along. I like being that kind of person where they just, oh, this is what you said. Yeah, we've been told you this. We told you guys that. Y'all were just too busy following Aqib Talib and them because he was always in the news of punching somebody. So you were
stealing chains.
Rondé was a true family guy. He was a guy by the books, and look, we're gonna get that with Levante. Don't you worry. Levante's gonna get his flowers soon enough because I'm gonna make a YouTube video about that too. You hear me, Levante? When you're done, I'm gonna give you your flowers. But yes, Rondé just had to. Levante is gonna go through what Rondé had to go through. It'll take him 3 to 4 times, maybe for him. Might be a little shorter because he played with Brady. So people are going to look at that as well. And then that Super Bowl, when he shut down Travis Kelce, they're going to have to pay attention to that.
The problem with Levante is he has not had the moments because he's only had 3 years in the playoffs. And if you look at it from a game point of view, from successful games, so he's only had four successful games in the playoffs, so that makes it difficult. I see him being more one of those generational guys that they'll put in. Of course, I hope I'm wrong, and it all depends on what he does in the future. The more he does, we all know that the entire league respects the shit out of him because anyone I've watched interviews with or done work with him, they're like, dude, the fucking league is sleeping on you. I don't know why this. His best friends, one of his best friends in college is Will Compton. Who does bussing.
Oh yeah,
bussing with the boys. He does bussing with the boys, and he's the co-creator of that. And all he does is call Levante. That was my guy. That was my guy. Took his job in Nebraska. Took his job in Nebraska. And you know, the fact that the bond is there and stuff, but he's like, I've looked your stats up. Bobby Wagner, this person, Luke Kuechly, all these people, you're either in it with them or you're in front of them, but you don't have their their Pro Bowls, you don't have their All Pros. And they asked him straight up, like, are you mad? And he was like, fucking damn right I'm mad. There's at least 2 seasons in my career that I should have been guaranteed a Pro Bowl and an All Pro.
Yes, absolutely. He's way better than Wagner. I tell people Wagner was the weakest link on that defense. It's just when you're attached to popularity, the Legion of Boom. When you're attached to popularity or controversy, they're going to look at you.
I don't think we had seen much of a defense like it. I mean, the only other one really that was at that point in time that was such a namesake defense was probably the Denver one, and it hadn't really come into fruition at that point.
Nope.
When they won their Super Bowl and they took over the Super Bowl. Once they did that, it's a bit like the Buccaneers when they took their Super Bowl. That really put a lot of diamonds and flowers on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, because it was the first time, or in a long while, since 2015, when we seen a team just get absolutely fucking brutalized by a defense, because it doesn't normally happen. Usually the offense feasts a little bit, at least.
Yeah, no,
games like this. And I just want to add this because it's Super Bowl week, because we got to go through this because it's Super Bowl week. I see that apparently that the Kansas City Chiefs have a bit of the lurgy going around, a bit of illness. I think they're just getting ready for excuses, because when we played them, it was our offensive line wasn't good enough, and he got turf-toe. Well, now they're all sick and they got no wide receivers. So hey, it's the same shit, different fucking day. But you know what? Are they trying to set up something for a documentary, so if they win, they can turn around, look at the adversity we went through?
Well, yes.
They fail. Well, we couldn't help it because.
Yeah, if Mahomes lose this game, you lose, bro. You can really kiss. It's already still. You're not. It's never gonna happen. But you really can kiss the Brady comparisons goodbye. You lose.
He can't lose another Super Bowl after that.
That's my point. You can't
second
lose.
Super Bowl he's lost.
Exactly. You can't lose. You cannot lose, and we'll see. We will definitely see on that. But on that note, I'm gonna get myself to bed because I got to get up early. But thank you guys for being out here. Again, this was for Rondé tonight, fellas. Rondé Barber is a Hall of Famer. So Bucs, we are finally getting more recognition. So just think of it that way. And for the rest of you guys, again, just please follow the Bucs Report Aftermath. We go in on Mondays. We really just vent. We're gonna be talking about more things. We still got to get an OC. We still got to see who our quarterback gonna be. We have a lot ahead of us for the remainder of the year. So it's buckle up. And again, you can always find me at AJ Turnup anywhere. And then I got good stuff, merchandise, Sticks of Fire, aka that's Tampa and Native American. AJ Turnup, myspreadshop.com. AJ Turnup.myspreadshop.com. Get some good merchandise. I got a lot more to this, motivational things, but as usual, thank you all for having me. Thank you for listening. And Slick, always a pleasure, my man.
Absolutely, brother. I'll see you Monday when we're breaking down this Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly. I will talk to you Monday, my man.
Catch you soon, brother.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, baby. Go Bucs. Okay, guys, that's the end of the show. It's pretty late over here, so it's nearly 4 o'clock. So I've got a little bit of football assessment stuff to do for the Steelers and the Sandwell Steelers, which is the team that I coach. So yeah, that's it from us. Rondé Barber's your Hall of Famer. It's about booking time. As I always say, guys, Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!